Hi everybody, it's Christine at CLAldridges Art, and the reason why you're looking at this weird screen is because I was going to show you a little something. Let me just keep this here and bring this back, and I am here. I was going through last Sunday's live stream video chat, and as I usually, as the host, unfortunately, I miss a lot of stuff that happens in the chat. And this is the page that we were coloring. I was featuring a guest artist spot for Sue Curry. And many of the things that were suggested, I read and incorporated into what I've done. And so I wanted to first show that. So the people who wanted a black pearl have a black pearl, and you wanted a jeweled box for the black pearl. So I used the glitter gel pens on the outside of the box, pink and the hot pink and the silver, and then I did the inside kind of like a like what I thought mother of pearl might look like. It's not perfect, but then I noticed that Karen Johnson had downloaded the images on the day that I first posted the free one, and was standing by to see how I was going to color the water. And of course we didn't get to that part. So I wanted to do the water real quickly for you guys. But before that, I did finally settle on a hair color for her. This is actually auburn red. This is the same colors and the same shades that are found in my own hair. All the ones that aren't gray, that is. And so I went ahead and used that. And this is basically just, I think that this is Spanish yellow for the golden shade. So that is the 1003. Then I also used the sienna brown, which is a reddish brown, and the chocolate. So I used the chocolate. Actually, what I did is I worked it in reverse. I put the gold all over a light coat. Then I put in the sienna brown, and then I put in the chocolate in the darkest spots, and then I burnished it all with the Spanish orange again. So that brought out these golden highlights. And so that's how that was done. I also did the coral, and I was going to perhaps play with outlining this a little bit with some white gel pen. And of course I did all the fish. So, and in the shades that we sort of talked about on stream. So, let me show you the research that I did to find out what I wanted to do to color this water. And I found it in the oddest place. So, this is how my mind works. The first thing I did is, let me switch the scenes here so I can go and show you this. Okay, now I found this guy Mural Joe, and I had the search parameter that I used was how to color light streaming through water. And this is the video that popped up. So I pulled it up on my screen. And, got through the ad, because there's always going to be an ad. And did you know
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can help. This sentence...
and did you know that if you watch the first 30 seconds of an ad, that whoever's channel it is actually gets paid for that ad? So if you can stand it, watch at least the first 30 seconds of the ad. In this particular case, I'm going to skip it because I watched it once. All right, so this is Joe, and this is right where I stopped watching this video. Now, Joe is a mural artist, but look at this. So I can imagine the drawing that I am working on sitting on this background. And I'm only going to take it from about right here downward. Whoops, I need to stop it again. So from about right here downward. So I know that I'm going to put in some sand and some cobalt blue. I'm going to work it up into a greenish blue. And at the very top of the water, to reflect the light shining through, I'm going to go yellow. So this is the kind of thing, you know, that I would use for research material. Some of you might prefer images, so you search Google Images for underwater sea life or whatever, and then you just sort of look at the picture and you can see the colors. I mean, like this is an aqua with maybe a little yellow underneath, and this is more of a like a china blue, and it goes down and there are patches of this dark cobalt blue, and then it starts to come back out. And this is the kind of thing where that art program that Dev showed you called ARTST, ARTY, that is available for the iPhone. I'm sure that there are, I'm sure that there are other programs that would work just as well for you Android users if you don't have the iPhone products and all of that. But so that is what I wanted to show you. And now I'll come back to my main screen, and now you see hopefully this, if I've done this right. So I am going to go ahead and start. Now the colors that I've chosen for this are the cobalt blue hue, which is, I'm using Prismacolors, so this is number 133. Then I've also chosen the was this what I wanted? This is not what I wanted. I did not want the non-photo blue. What I want, and I don't want the electric blue. Well, actually, let me see. Because I don't know that this even will show up. But there are, in all of my books in the back, there's a page that is dedicated to just this purpose. So let's, oh yeah, that's a nice blue. And let me see what how different it is than the electric blue. Yeah, I think the, I think the non-photo blue has it. Now the other option, of course, would be to use the cobalt turquoise, but I don't know that I can get it light enough to work. So better to stick with a lighter pencil to begin with. So that is, okay, so now we have the cobalt blue hue 133, the non-photo blue 919, the light aqua 992, the chartreuse. You can see this is the shortest pencil in my set, and that's because I use it for everything. And the sunburst yellow, which is number 917. And by the way, that chartreuse is number 989. Now, what I did is I kind of started, and then I thought, oh, I should film this. And I just put a tiny bit right up here at the top of the yellow sun. And then I just worked it down along those rays, just a little ways. Because it's not the primary color I want to use here. It's just sort of there. Assuming that the light is coming from right there. And then I'm going to switch to the chartreuse, and equally lightly, I'm also going to add just a little bit. So now we're starting to get a little green hue in there, which we're then going to cover over with the blue. But we just want to get it down now. And just very lightly. Because we're going to work this in layers. I also had to change my background because my black background got coffee dumped on it when I accidentally dumped my coffee over on my desk. And unfortunately, the black background didn't survive, and the blue one is the only one I have, so hopefully it's not too distracting. Okay, now I've done that part. I'm going to come down in here to the bottom. And I put sand color, and then I used artichoke, I think. So sand and artichoke, and sort of made sand down here. And then in between this dark rock and her tail, I put in a layer of this cobalt blue hue, which is different than the cobalt blue. But it's supposed to represent the deepest water. So don't worry that it looks a little rough right now. It's actually going down right on top of a layer of the sand color. And I'm being very light with it because I don't want it to entirely take away the sand color. But I also don't want to work it very far up. Because I don't want it to be too overwhelming. So I'm thinking not any further than this plane right here. And then I'm going to take the non-photo blue and start working it up. And I may pull some more colors in here too. But this would be, the darkest blue would be theoretically as you're looking away. And let me see if I can both make that a little clearer because I just realized how fuzzy that picture is. Deepest part of the water here, which is this cobalt blue, and up here, it looks like there's sand running underneath it, and that's just exactly what I wanted it to do. So these are true blues. that are, you know, this non-photo blue and the cobalt. But it's to represent that the water would be getting greener as it gets toward the yellow sunlight. Because when yellow sunlight streams through blue water onto yellow sand, it is green. Seafoam green. So we'll just work that up just a little bit more, very, very lightly. Whoops. And now I'll switch to the light aqua and just sort of keep moving up. Now, granted, this would be much easier if I just broke out the neo colors, but that's not what this picture is about. This picture is about the Prismacolors. And for me, it's a challenge to see whether or not I could color an ocean with my Prismacolors. And I do enjoy a challenge. So today is Tuesday, and it has been a day of watching streams for me. I don't normally spend an entire day watching streams, but I woke up at around 1 o'clock in the morning this morning, or I guess it was Tuesday morning. And it is now 10:12 at night, and other than a very short 2-hour nap, I am running on my afterburners. But I also wanted to do this, so but at any rate, so this morning, fairly early, around I think it was 6 a.m. my time, Caroline of Coloring Caroline, I wrote it down. Coloring Caroline, Coloring with Caroline. At any rate, today was her very first live stream. Caroline lives in Holland, and she's Dutch, and her first stream was absolutely wonderful. She is an incredible colorist, you guys. I mean, a really good colorist. And it was just so much fun. There weren't very many of us there, but I do encourage you to subscribe to her channel, because I'll tell you what, I just learned all kinds of things by watching her. She colored grapes that were just incredible, and leaves, and she was coloring a really beautiful picture from Slavic Beauties, and then her husband came in. His name is Raymond, and the first thing he did was walk over and kiss his wife, which, I'm sorry, but I just find that very impressive. They've been married for a very long time, and you know, I just wish the whole world was like that, you know, happy to be together after all those years. At any rate, and then of course I sort of took a quick look at some of her other videos, and you know, talented lady, absolutely loved watching her. The 2 hours just sort of flew by. Let's see, and then I had also seen Connie, who is of course CB, earlier in the day, and she was testing out a new camera. And so, you know, a lot for us Americans, a lot of the Europeans are on very early. Am I getting off the screen again? I do apologize. But if you're up and you can catch them, I swear they must teach art in the schools in Europe, because I have yet to see a European colorist who wasn't really good and made it look so easy, you know, even though we all know it's not. Okay, so you see how this sort of starts to turn all of this green, this water green. I know you can't probably see that because it's a very subtle effect right away. But let me see if I can I pull the, oops, so sorry. I've got the camera cord attached to the light. Hang on just a second. See if I can't get the light to move without dragging the camera along with it. Trying to get some of that light out of the way so you can see a little truer color. And I did my bubbles. All I did was just put a little bit of color in to sort of mark where they were so I wouldn't accidentally go over them. But I think you kind of have to go over them because, after all, bubbles are translucent, right? So I'm just going over them very, very lightly, or transparent. Just super, super light. And building up my colors. So there is that first layer. And then I might just bring a little bit of the, oops, sorry again. Might just bring a little bit of this light aqua down here into the blue. And then I'm going to go back to the blue. And this is going to look better once it's all burnished out. Right now it looks a little on the rough side. And then, so after I watched all of that, then there was a new episode of my my favorite new channel, which is Curiosity Inc., where Alex was out at the Potter's house, which is the house that he bought that the lady who had lived there was 105, and it was originally built as a hoarder's house, but it wasn't so much that as it was that she was an artist. She had other things on her mind other than keeping her house clean and picked up, and it just got away from her over the years as she became less and less energetic and able to to tackle big projects. The house got away from her. So sweet lady is 101 years old and living in a nursing home now. And so Alex is curating her house and trying to get it accepted by the historic, or the Heritage Society, I guess, of Saskatchewan, I think is where the house is located, Canada. And so they can get it on the historic registry because she was a famous potter. And her work is in museums all over the world and in private collections. And so he's going a long way toward paying a lot of respect to her legacy. And, you just have to appreciate that in really a total stranger, that feels strongly enough about what you did with your art to want to preserve it forever, or preserve your home and the heritage and your legacy. So, needless to say, of course, he found an awful lot of her art in the house, which was part and parcel of the deal when he bought it, that he got to keep all of that. So, I guess you could say it's his way of paying it forward. So, I'm just, working the colors together as they get up here to the top. I might even go ahead and take at least a quick layer of this color blue all the way up. I want to make sure I don't darken this at all, where the light is supposed to be coming through. So I'm really just sort of barely touching the pencil to the page. And I'm off screen again, off camera again. Jeez. I apologize, you guys. Okay. Just wanted to throw a little bit of a sharpen on this pencil. Get to talking about all of that. And then, by that time, Sammy came on. So, in typical YouTube fashion, poor Sammy had to restart her stream today, at least once. So, but she got some absolutely gorgeous Happy Mail things. And so that was lovely for her and lovely to see. Sammy does so much work in learning to use all the supplies and the books and everything that are sent to her. And then passing that knowledge along to all of us. So it's really I love that she really puts all of that into her channel. So then, after Sammy, I took a nap. And I woke up just in time for Dev's stream, Dev's Tuesday stream. And he got an awesome bunch of Happy Mail. And some wonderful new supplies, which he will be demonstrating for us all over the next months. And then, of course, he was kind enough to be featuring my book, Fantasy Flower Garden, for the entire month of February, for Faber-Castell, which was his hashtag name. And then next is coming Metallic March. So hashtag Metallic March, and that'll be where you guys will be using all your metallics in pictures. And then be sure to join Dev's Facebook group. My Art Bleeds is the name of it. and post all your works in progress and your finished images for Metallic March. And if you want to know how to also, not only your metallics, but one of the videos on Sammy's channel is, and there are many channels that have how to color metal effect, colorings, but she just posted a relatively new one just a couple days ago, maybe it was just yesterday, about bronze and antique gold. How to color those with your Prismacolor pencils or your polychromos, and so that is a great thing to check out if you have missed that. And of course, I have missed all of Dee Dee's streams this week, which is not like me. I usually watch them, but there are so many new YouTube or new color tubers, and I like to give everybody a watch. I like to support as many as I can with just my presence and a like and a shout out, and as much of that as I can do for them, for all that they do for me. Flipping through my books and coloring my pages and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so now I've got sort of the whole base of water, and I think that may be kind of difficult for you to see. It looks fairly light as I'm looking at it on the screen, but when I'm looking at it in person, it is not nearly that light. But see if I can't make the colors just a little bit more rich for you guys. Because if you can't see it on this, do you ever have one of those things that you got that's just, it doesn't look like anything, but it's proved to be the most useful thing that you ever got? I have a set of these velveteen, it's paper, but it's got like a cloth finish on one side, and it's like cloth mounted on paper. But my ex-husband's niece saw these in a Photoshop, and she gave them to me. I just want to see if putting it on a black background makes any difference as to whether or not you can actually see the colors or not. That's a little better, I think. But so this is what I put behind many of my photographs. When I take my pictures for Instagram, I put this behind because it makes the corners and the edges stand out. And so I have them. I have two of them in every color that they were available in, and she gave them to me all in this neat little folder. And I used to use them to shoot my jewelry on. When I had, when I made jewelry. Of course, back then we had one of those. Now I'm making the chartreuse color my burnishing color. So it's looking like sunlight coming through the water. And that may be a little bit to green. So, whoops, that's not going to do it. That's not the color I want. This is what I want. So now what I'm adding is some of the non-photo blue. And don't worry about that dark spot. For those of you who might have OCD, I can take that out just like that. And so those proved useful for years for that purpose, and now I'm finding new uses for them. Just one of those super useful things that, you know, just keeps on giving. The gift that gives on giving. Those are the best kinds of gifts. And so thoughtful of her to think that, you know, that would be cool for me to, you know, shoot my... But that's what I was going to say. You know, back then I was shooting at a digital camera that shot great macro photography onto 3.5-inch floppy disks. So, and the camera wasn't even that old. I mean, you know, it was, I think I bought it in 1998. So that seems like a long time ago now, but to me, 1998 just seems like a couple of years ago. Even though I believe it was, what, 20 years ago? Yeah. Okay, so yes, that's it. Should have been going this direction to begin with. Because that really burnishes in nicely. Just following the sun down. And of course, as it gets deeper, it's only going to follow the shafts of light a little lighter in the, you know, in these areas. Just maybe a single coat. Whereas up here, it's got at least a couple of coats of the chartreuse. Just shooting that water all the way down and filling it with light, which is what the chartreuse green gives me. I use the chartreuse to highlight all my leaves and obviously water. And what gave me the idea was when I ran it over this little guy here, he looked like he was being hit by the sun, by the sunbeams. So that's why I thought to use the chartreuse. An accident of art. Otherwise, these fish are sort of shading her so she gets true color. At least that's a story that I made up in my head. I like my green fish. With his big old fat lips. Oh, fat-lipped fish. Oh, and I did the skin too. I did the skin. I can't believe I did the skin, but I did. And it doesn't even look that bad. Could others do it better? Absolutely. Is that pretty good for me? Yeah. And I'm happy with it. Guess you just kind of have to put your fears aside and go for it. And that's just exactly what I did. I just sat here and said, guess I better go for that skin. Otherwise she's going to be awfully white. Okay. Hi everybody, sorry. Welcome back. Okay, I have been playing with this a little bit, and I just wanted to test out a couple of things there, so I stopped the camera and started it again. And what I've discovered is that if I use the Sky Blue Light number 1086 as sort of a blending pencil, that it creates this sort of very cool watery effect. And, yeah, a watery effect. And so what I did was I just went over that cobalt blue that I'd put there, and it turned it, let's see if you can get down, if I can get you down there to actually see that or not. But it turned it this really cool, sort of lighter, but more watery. More watery looking at any rate. And so I thought I'd try it in a few more places and see if it works. It just sort of blurs it and sends it into a otherworldly, which the ocean is sort of an otherworldly place. Yeah, I think I'm liking that. So yeah, that actually works nicely. See, and this is why I clip my pages, because I have a tendency to catch the edge of pages and roll them up with my hand. So I clip down my pages so that doesn't happen. It creates sort of the blurry effect that you would get if you were looking at it in water. So when all those different colors and layers are all blending together, they're all still visible, but they're blending together quite nicely to create a very translucent water effect. I'm liking it. Just like the fish's tail. our mermaid's tail. I am liking it a lot. Okay, and I'm just going to keep working it. And adding color. I did add a little bit more of the blues because I thought it was getting a little too washed out looking. And so as you work it, you'll see that. Well, I'm not burnishing it all the way down. I'm just more sort of lightly blending it all together so that I could still add more layers if I needed to. And I did. So I added another layer of the non-photo blue and just a little bit more of the darker blue down here, and then went over it again, and that richened the color up so that it was better. Richened. I don't think that's really a word. Made the colors richer. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Whoops, sorry. But I also want it to be the best that I can make it. And I'm going right over those bubbles because I'm going to outline those in white anyway. Ooh, and see as you blend that down, how that really turns into this beautiful shade of green, like light streaming through water. At least my ocean is green water. Yours might lean more toward the blue side. Okay. Ooh, I'm liking it, liking it, liking it. Okay. So now I can break out the white. And I thought that I would try, we shall see if this works, because there is an awful lot of wax down. So this might not work. Just doing this first one to see if I like the effect. Actually, that's kind of cool. I tried to use what I thought were natural colors that coral sort of grew in. Pinks and sort of gray lavenders. But I got confused as to where, all the different corals, where one started and another one stopped. So I just sort of had to wing it. And this is really just adding a hint of, I'm not worrying about coloring the lines up all the way. It's more like just a glow around the coral. Yeah, that's a pretty effect. Let's see how it looks on the bubbles. This might be easier with a Posca than with the gel pen. Sometimes I think it's hard to get gel pen to lay down over the waxy pencils. Let's try the light shafts. I'm hoping that the gel pen, because the white Signo gel has a tendency to sink in to the color that it's on, and so I want it to do that. See how it's turning sort of yellow down here? That's exactly what I want. So it looks more like it's shooting light into the water. Anyway, so that hopefully is a good demonstration of how I finish this piece up. Now, I'm not going to do an outer background on this, mostly because Sue doesn't draw them that way. Her intention is that, the coloring takes place inside the inner frame. So that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, I think that's going to be cool. I think that's going to be very cool. All right. I'll bring it back one more time and show you when I've got it all done. Okay. Ta-da! the big finish. So I am ready to call this one completely done. And I am so pleased that I was able to color this. Once again, it is from this beautiful book by Susan Curry called Off the Page, available at Amazon. Links are below. Also available as a PDF in her Etsy shop. There's also a walkthrough video of the entire book set to music, also down below. And I am ready to sign and date. I'm actually going to backdate this to Sunday. Sunday's stream, which was, I believe, February 24th. So, February 24th, 2019. Colored by Christine. Don't run out on me now, pen. Aldridge. Ta-da! That's it. Bye, everybody, and until we meet again, please color something pretty.